Resident Evil 4, the remake on PSVR2 is finally here, and we wanted to break down insights on it, so make sure you're just sticking around. To even start off hot, last night, Resident Evil Village won VR Game of the Year. So what the hell is Resident Evil 4 PSVR2 going to win in the upcoming year? I don't know. It's releasing in 2023, but I mean, technically we're in 2024 for the most part. It happened a day after the awards. Does that count as like going into 2024? If that's the case, this wins 2024 Game of the Year. Hands down, no issues, no questions asked. This game is horrendously and horrifically scary. I don't even know if you put those terms together. I don't spoke English right now. This game is scary. Straight up. The models on these characters, and the reason being our review is far more legitimate than like what a lot of other people were saying also, is because the reason being is we just jumped out of the quest version yesterday. We released a video. If you haven't checked it out, check out the quest version. We have the quest 2 version of Resident Evil 4 VR, then we have a quest 3 version of Resident Evil 4 VR, and now you get the PSVR 2 version. Now this game is leagues ahead. Now, there is ripes. This is not a perfect game, but it is leagues ahead of what the quest was doing. And I want to get into those ripes in a little bit, of course, but the model, like everything that goes down, it is the theme as much. It's dark. It's way darker. And seeing these people fly at you is crazy. And you knew in the OG Resident Evil 4 VR, the quest versions, you know, you kind of knew their stances already. And the remake, their stances are different. You run a little bit different, especially for somebody like me, because I didn't really run the PS5 version of Resident Evil 4 as much to really acknowledge it. How many times I played it back then was just the OG one was way more often than I played the remake. So it's been a little gap time between I played the remake on flat screen. And the reason being because I wanted to get that shocking factor for myself. Now, this game is wild, man. Like everything that you do, I'm not spoiling no story essentials here. If you want gameplay, you can check out gameplay elsewhere. You can do all that. But I will tell you, if you don't want no spoilers, it is a fantastic time. Now, getting into what quote unquote ripes are about this game, again, it could technically be flawless if you don't pick at these, what I'm about to pick at right now. The mechanics are great. Everything is great. It just looting, everything is just phenomenal. Again, it is leagues ahead of the quest version, and it's a quest version on steroids. Now, segueing into that being a quest version on steroids, there are these ripes, and one being that the cutscenes. So the cutscenes does continue onto this one. If you heard me talk about the quest one, I said I hated the cutscenes, how it takes you out of the immersion. Again, PSVR 2 does it a lot better because it still has it like in a full screen technically. While Quest went into like this baby weird mini screen, it just was never good for the Quest version. So that was always going to be a downfall of the Quest. Now, it's not necessarily a ripe on the PSVR 2, but we'll get more into that right now. So that's first, the cutscenes, and then also when you're kicking them, right, the melee. And when you hit them, it kind of brings you out into this third person, and some interactions kind of bring you out back into a third person view. But again, are these really ripes on a PSVR 2? Here's why they shouldn't really be the downplays of the full immersion. Other than that, this game is damn near flawless. It is great. Everything's great. Especially if you haven't played Resident Evil 4, please just dive in and play this game. It'll scare the shit out of you. And even if you know what's going on, it's still going to kind of scare you because the remake, there's some twists and turns that you don't really remember as much in Resident Evil 4. Now, we're going to go back to ripes, right? So the cutscenes are not really immersed, and the melee is not really immersed, and some interactions are not really immersed. So when you look at that, when I look at the Quest version, the fact that they did that to us on the Quest version, the cutscenes are not actually immersed. Hits, the melee, the kicks, when you opt into a kick, and then when you also opt into some interactions. Now, it's a ripe on a Quest version. It could be a ripe on either or. It just depends on who you are, right? So we're gonna go on the positive side and negatively shitting on the Quest version, saying that doing so, it takes you out of immersion. But Quest is solely based as a VR headset that needs to have full immersion to save the lack of its processing power, its GPU, its graphics, everything, because it is the main stage. VR is a main stage, and therefore Resident Evil 4 on Quest is kind of treated like an extension of playing flat screen. The reason being because, like what I said, the cutscenes. Now, some immersions and all that with everything going down with the characters, it still gets there. But again, it takes you in and out at times, and that shouldn't be the sole base of a Quest version, especially when the graphics are already as lower quality as it is. What saves the Quest is not the graphics, but the interaction and the immersion. So that is a full ripe on the Quest version of this. Now, this is not really a comparison video, but again, that's just to kind of give insight on that. On the PSVR2, it's the same thing. It's a Quest version on steroids. Of course, it's a way better game, way better graphics, way better experience. But again, it does the same thing with cutscenes and actual interactions and the melee essential, kind of going back to third person. But for PSVR2, I would still see that as a positive because, once again, PSVR2 is not the main stage of virtual reality when it comes down to PlayStation. PlayStation lets us know solely that it's a PSVR2, that you have to be connected to a PS5, thus treating it as an extension. And they don't push this half as hard as like a Meta is pushing their actual essentials of being a main stage virtual reality headset standalone. They are the main show. They're the main attraction. So whatever they do has to be all in with immersion, even if the graphics are not up to par. PlayStation is giving us these graphics, but they do have some ins and outs that don't keep us fully immersed at times. Again, I'm not going to spoil everything. I'm not here to spoil everything. Y'all can watch any other reviews and all that if you want to do that. But this would be for people that are interested in the game, but just kind of want to hear some in-depth and be like, all right, cool, that kind of weighed my decision. It's great. If I want to, it's well worth it. This is going to be VR Game of the Year again, if it does count, because Resident Evil Village just won last night. So hopefully this counts as a VR Game of the Year 2024 because the awards already happened. But again, this is treated as an extension, and therefore I think as an extension experience, Sony's doing it the right way. And I said this in my previous video also, that they're treating their virtual reality headset like it is an extension. So therefore the scenes, the cutscenes not being crazy fully immersed, the melee being like kind of a third person, kind of takes you out of immersion real quick, like a simple button press. I think those are actually W's for what PlayStation is doing, because again, they're treating it as like, hey, we're an extension. We're not really fully VR. This is the game that we play as a remake on PS5, but you can plug in here if you want to get some crazy, like, actual extra detail and just get more immersed into your gaming experience, enhance your gaming experience, right? It's like supplements. PSVR2 is exactly like a supplement. It's, you eat healthy, you work out, you do all that, but if you want to take maybe a protein shake or some protein bars, you definitely like probably level up on your muscles and your recovery a little bit faster than also just doing the natural side of things. Like, I'm going to eat chicken, I'm going to do all this, but I'm also going to take protein bars. So that's what PSVR2 does. It enhances already what you're doing. So therefore the cutscenes and those mini quote unquote ripes that are actually ripes on a Quest are not really the ripes on PSVR2. So therefore this, man, easily the highest rating. I don't want to give it a number rating, but it is damn near flawless, and it's a game well worth it. It's scary, there's action, there's in depth to what's going down, the looting, there's a lot of gameplay, and I'm sure it's going to continuously get better. They might add additional modes and stuff. I mean, there's just so much to do, bro. But yeah, if y'all already played it, don't drop too much spoilers for everybody else, as this wasn't really a spoiler video. But let us know in the comment section, have you been rocking out with it? What are your thoughts about it? And I don't know, man. I mean, if you want to give ratings and all that, that could be cool too, man. But I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good one. Peace.